Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Rahul Gandhi, after making his speech in Cambridge, made his appearance in Parliament for the first day today, where reporters asked him if he will apologize. To that, he said that if he's allowed to speak in Parliament, he will give his clarification. Later on, around 3:30 p.m., Rahul addressed a press conference where he said that the main issue still is the revelation which has come out of the Adani Hindenburg report. But during the course of the press conference, Rahul apparently made a blooper with the word unfortunately, and where Jairam Ramesh was seen prompting him. And after that, the headlines have changed, the focus has changed, and everyone has started calling Rahul again a puppet. But the million-dollar question is that will Rahul be allowed to clarify on the apology bit, on the Cambridge bit tomorrow when the Parliament reconvenes? I'm joined by Congress Rajya Sabha MP Amee Yajnik. Thank you, ma'am, so much for joining on the Federal. My first question to you is, we call it a blooper or some kind of a gaffe, but how do you really see, has Rahul Gandhi again fallen in the trap of BJP?
Not at all. I was hearing the whole conference which was going on, the press conference. But when you are conversing in a language, the commas and the full stops don't appear when you're speaking. And I think when he said that, unfortunately, then he put a phrase which had no relevance with it, unfortunately. The unfortunately would be connected to another phrase, continuation. But that is, I think, a language, the English language. I think it would be only those who write and read and extensively would know that this is. So I immediately understood that unfortunately is anyway a big word, and it would be taken off the context. And they're always trying to pick holes. They do not want to see the substantial part of the whole thing or the essence of what he's telling. So I knew that. But that is why I think Jairamji said that you just add the later portion with that connecting, unfortunately, rather than looking it at, because I think it is a very, very, I don't want to use any strong words for the language, but I think I got it immediately when he said it, that, well, this is meant for an academic session, and the students would have immediately understood what it was.
Right. But the moment we see this kind of a blooper, I mean, ma'am, what happens is that, BJP immediately pounces upon the opportunity and starts amplifying the so-called papufication campaign, which they started years back. Now, the question is that why does Rahul Gandhi give that kind of an opportunity? And people do end up asking those kind of questions. I'm not doubting Rahul's capabilities, but I'm just saying that Rahul, whenever he speaks like this, he seems to be giving a chance to BJP. How would you really respond to that?
See, I am observing all the time in the house also, and have been as a spokesperson for a long while now. They are always trying to find out from some, say, if you are reading some one whole page, they'll find out that you have forgotten the full stop. Or they'll find somebody would tell them that this letter should have been capital letter. So this is what they pick holes in everything. I understand their frustration, but it is actually not frustration. They are given a mandate. Let me tell you, I'll be a little stronger today because I feel upset when I see that they are becoming so small, the smallness of their allegations and the pouncing on Rahul Gandhi all the time. It is a one-point agenda. So it's an agenda that has been given to them. I don't think so any one of them, including the honorable ministers, even for 1 second, in our legal language, we say, have you applied your mind when you are saying this argument? So it's kind of a non-application of mind. Just blurt out whatever that comes to them. But because they are a ruling party, they make it with such force, and they are welcome all the time. So it is all the time we are trying to correct which is not incorrect. That is the problem. So this is the issue with the
right.
BJP.
But Amee, when you speak to the BJP spokespersons or the BJP leaders, they always get back to us saying that, what stops Congress from having a troll ministry? Because BJP is accused of having a troll ministry, an army which all the time, keeps amplifying these bloopers of Rahul Gandhi. So why doesn't Congress really have its own department where you communicate and counter the BJP narrative, the kind of agenda which BJP sets? So do you feel that somewhere down the line, the communication department is lacking that heft, that strength somewhere?
Do you think if somebody trolls, we should do that counter trolling? If that was the way the politics or the way the Congress would have gone, maybe pre-independence, attacking like this. No, we went the non-violence way. We followed Mahatma Gandhiji. We fought on all fronts in a very, very different way on truth and non-violence. Let us not forget that they were not there in the picture. They're recently born, so you can understand their excitement. That having been in, I mean, being in power for a little while now, they think that they can get away with everything. So countering trolls with trolls is not the answer. And this is this the I think beginning of the information technology. This too will have a little change, and truth will always prevail. That's what I always feel,
But,
because
but
I
you,
wouldn't like to follow a troll. And the trolls are, I think, if they're
no,
spending
but you may
whatever.
not call it a troll army, or you may not call it a troll, but then that's again, the rules of the games have changed in politics as well. You could call it a social media war as well.
Yes, but I think we are coming out with the truth which rattles them all the time.
Okay.
So that countering of the truth is not being done. So they sort of thrust this army of trolls. Let us call whatever they are, whoever they are, and they are also given a definite way to write and speak, because they also don't apply their mind. They're told to do something. When somebody is told to do something, that person just follows. So
Right.
that's what I find, and I think the honorable ministers of the BJP. I think there is no word for describing their powers. And I don't think so. We even know, or they also know what their powers are, in fact. So instead of, I think, speaking like real statespersons and real ministers, because we have seen in our young days, as myself, I have seen law ministers, I have seen home ministers, I have been in the law profession. So I think that minister would speak his mind. The
Right.
minister would know actually what he's speaking on policy, but would not follow a script. So
Right.
let me be bold enough today to say that this is not done. Let them say what they feel about the whole thing. Not one person speaks the word A of Adani. Forget about using the whole word.
Right.
And there not a single person even speaks that yes, we need
Right.
fairness. We are a government. We have promised something to the people, but we are not doing so.
No, in fact, I was coming to that particular issue where the opposition is continuously insisting for a JPC into the Hindenburg and Adani report, which came recently. Now, when BJP was in the opposition, they were aggressive and they forced the then UPA government to buckle down. Their ministers resigned. JPC was formulated, and whatever truth was there, it came out. Today, the allegation made against the opposition is that the opposition is not aggressive enough. It cannot force BJP into buckling down the way UPA was made to do. Now, where do you think is the opposition lacking?
No, no. I think it's a wrong interpretation of the opposition of today. Today, what happens is that the opposition is trying its best to raise the issues. Any issue, let's not talk about the present issue for a second, let us forget about that. But earlier, whenever any issue is taken up, whether it's Pegasus, whether it's Rafael, even sometimes we have taken up issues of young girls being raped and that victims should get protection. We shout at the top of our voices, but we are not heard. We resort to the mechanism that is inbuilt in the house proceedings, that you give a notice in a certain under certain rule, and you request the honorable chairperson that please give us a hearing, give us the time to discuss. We may all together put our points before the house, and let us have a deliberation on that, so that we may know what is the truth and what is the untruth. But that is not being given for the last several sessions I'm seeing. So you just take it up, and you just find out whether any notice has been entertained till date. So what is wrong? See, I think the honorable chairperson has vast powers, and he can even say, yes, this is a very serious issue. I would like to take it up in the interest of the people of this country. Let's have a discussion on that. But not a single notice is being entertained. We are left with no other option except shout at the top of our voice to attract his attention. But then the recording is not shown. It's only one side of the house that is shown to
No,
the
but
people who are watching.
recently, Amee, even the chairman of Rajya Sabha and the vice president, Mr. Dhankar, said that, how can I sanctify Rahul Gandhi's statement when he says that mics are muted? Uh, how do you know really that the mics are muted? Because the ruling party or the BJP leaders and the ministers say that Rahul Gandhi goes on speaking, opposition leaders go on shouting. How do they say that their mics are muted?
No, that happens many times. If you see somebody crosses the limit of some, say, 3 minutes or 8 minutes, the mic goes off, and the honorable chairperson, whoever is sitting in the chair, says that, well, your mic is off. This will not be recorded. This will not go on record. So
Okay.
sometimes it does happen when everyone is shouting, the mics are shut off. So what's wrong? And if you have to be so picky, like, for very small things, like you are in a school and taking all these kind of issues rather than the issues with this country is facing, you never speak about unemployment. You will not find that word in the house. You never speak about women's safety. Once in a while it is taken up, fine, it's a very small discussion. You never speak about the education system going fat after the corona. So these are the issues you never hear in the house. We are trying to bring up these issues. We bring notices, we talk about short discussions, short duration discussions, but never are they taken up. So just to pick holes in somebody speaking and just trying to glorify that to hide your inability, that is the main thing. You are unable to do anything. You are unable, and you are not wanting to do anything. That is why you pick holes on the other side. This is not fairness. This is, see, as a political party which is a ruling party having such a large mandate, I thought it would do wonders, and I think would be able to do so much good. But all the time today, in the last 4 days, within a minute today, the house has got adjourned, and it is the ruling party people who get up and shout like nobody's business that we want maafi from Rahul Gandhi. Now we could also have done that, but when you are talking about the UPA time, let's not forget that UPA has been extremely fair.
But Amy,
And when
what I don't understand was, I mean, and I don't understand still, is that Rahul Gandhi was raising all issues which had so much of logic during the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Whatever issues he raised, they had validity, and people could not dismiss what he said. And there were huge gains which Bharat Jodo Yatra brought in. People could see a semblance of change coming out of it. But the moment he went to Cambridge, what was the need for him to make a statement like that? Because people do say, I mean, I'm not going into the fact that whether he should have said this kind of a thing on a foreign soil or not. But my question is that Rahul Gandhi straight-handedly has handed out an issue to the BJP on the platter. You could have still continued to raise the Adani issue. You could have still continued to raise the Hindenburg issue. But somehow the Adani issue has got sidestepped. And now BJP has waked up this foreign soil issue that, he made a blunder by talking against India on a foreign soil. And now they are so insistent. They are not even letting the parliament function. So it's
that
yes.
no, yeah, I understand your question, but I think the whole lecture of the Cambridge should first be heard word by word, and you just can't pick up one sentence, because the present ruling dispensation has never liked anyone speaking anything about the societal fabric. So you have seen the plight of young students, you have seen the universities, campuses, you have seen what has happened to intellectuals, you have seen what has happened to NGOs, and who have spoken about the fabric being kind of distorted by some kind of statements. So what is wrong? We have to see, if we are a healthy democracy, and if we want to be Vishwa Guru, then you have to be tolerant to everything.
No,
And
but
even
did you hear
we
what
can
Mr.
no,
Kiren
you
Rijijus?
can't pick up a sentence from somebody's speech and then just say that on foreign soil. On one side you say it's one world, everyone is our people. So then you have to see, somewhere you please convince your own self what you are thinking about the country, yourself, your party, and everything. Just continuously picking holes. The world is watching and looking at the pettiness of the things that are happening in India.
But Amy, did you hear what Mr. Kiren Rijiju said today? Today in the morning when he was talking to the press, he did mention all these points which you just raised. That, he goes to the campuses, he speaks, he spoke in the Bharat Jodo Yatra, but when he goes abroad, then he says he's not allowed to speak. So that is how they are getting back.
No, I think that that was made in a sense that it was not a specific statement for himself. I think that's what I gather. So Mr. Rijiju has now made a habit of speaking. When he speaks for the judiciary, so you can imagine that he would speak for anybody. And he comes in the parliament house and speaks about the higher judiciary and the backlog, and he doesn't look at what his role as the law minister is, and he doesn't understand the nuances of what a collegium system is, or what are the district courts are, and what are the lower courts. So I think I would not like to comment on his statement. He should bring clarity to himself first before he makes any statement about anything.
But what are you expecting out of the rest of the budget session, which is left? Will it really have any solid outcomes in the sense that there will be business? Rahul Gandhi will get a chance to speak, or you are staring at a washout?
See, the way any procedure would go, any healthy and good procedure or fair procedure is that if somebody has spoken something somewhere, then that person is attacked that you should not have spoken this. So you give that person a chance when he makes a request that I have said it, no, and you feel that I have said something, let me come and clarify. If he comes, you give him a chance, but you don't give him a chance to speak or clarify, and you just blow your own bugle on this on such a mass scale that you don't want the house to run. It's not the opposition. The ruling party gets up in a jiffy at 11:01 and they shout like nobody's business, and both the houses got adjourned today in 1 minute's time. So the intention, I do not know, is what, whether they want the budget session to go on or not. And the budget session has to go on because there's so many issues in the budget, that what has happened and what is required, because so many places and so many points it is slashed very badly. So if they finance minister will have to answer on that. So the budget session has to go on, but we do not know the way the ruling party is behaving. Very surprising.
Right. Amee, also talking about the kind of opposition unity which everybody saw yesterday. Mallikarjun Kharge, and obviously everyone could see that Congress played a major role in uniting all the opposition parties yesterday when you all decided to march towards the ED office. That's a different story altogether because that march couldn't happen. The police obstructed everyone. But the point and the worry, and the biggest worry now, is that how will you create this momentum now, and how will you sustain rather the momentum for this opposition unity? Because there are still parties like Trinamool, like for example, yesterday NCP was not part of the opposition unity; it was not seen, though Aam Aadmi Party was there. So there are still, parties which look a little different from the kind of agenda which Congress is wanting to bring. So, do you see this opposition unity being sustained in the days to come?
I think every opposition party is facing the onslaught of the central agencies. Now, the central agencies are meant to investigate into serious issues that come to the fore. But here you unleash these agencies, central agencies, on opposition parties only, as if the ruling party does not have a single person who has indulged into any small thing which is not fair. But that doesn't happen. And why is it that on such a large scale, immediately the central agencies go and raid these people? And then somehow, if you see, if you prepare a list of leaders who have just crossed over, or I would not use the harsh word like poaching, but the crossed over, suddenly they get immunity from everything and also get plum posts. So these are issues which need to look at. We need to look into, because we talk that we are a very big democracy. In fact, we are talking that we are a very mother of democracy. So mother of democracy, the democracy has to behave in the way a democracy has to behave. So
So, are
this
you
unleashing of central
right?
agencies on
Are you
opposition parties, I think it's going too far.
Okay, so are you saying that now ED and CBI, or rather the enforcement agencies, uh, have brought in the opposition parties together, because now there is no option for the opposition parties but to unite against the enforcement agencies?
No, then I think it would be, thinking only in one direction. There are several issues which every opposition party in its own way and in its own region or wherever they are face, whether it's election time or whether it is non-election time, or on issues in that particular region, because there are many specific region specific issues. So these are also factors that add to this. This is of course a major issue, but there are many other issues, and you have seen how people have just crossed over to the other side, and so many matters are before the courts, whether they are the high courts or the Supreme Court. And if you see that everyone is silent, they want these issues to be resolved, like the electoral bond issue, which is in the court, the 370 article issue, which is again the pending before the apex court, honorable apex court. And also we should not forget that the issue of the recent issue which went before the apex court about I forgot the issue, but these are the issues which are before the apex court, and people are waiting that, well, we may get justice. So these are not issues that affect only one party. Every party is being affected, and they're awaiting results and justice from the apex court. But the issues, the matters are not being taken up. So these are issues which I think the opposition parties are thinking. It's not only one ED, but central agencies are definitely a bigger point, I would say, and that every party is suffering, and they're wondering that why it is pick and choose for certain parties only. Why not the BJP people? Because there are so many things. You have seen murders, you have seen frauds, you have seen corruption, but nothing is being done. I was mentioning PM care funds also.
Okay. Earlier, we used to see that the regional parties had a lot of trust in Congress, and they used to hold hands with the Congress. But now, if you look at the pattern, whether it is BRS, whether it is Aam Aadmi Party, whether it is Trinamool, these people always end up saying that, Congress is sitting on a high horse. Congress has a huge ego problem. And therefore, why shouldn't the regional parties, aspire for a national status as what the Congress does? Now, why is that so? I mean, is there any shortcoming, within Congress, why they cannot reach out to these regional parties? And I'm specifically talking about Trinamool, BRS, and Aam Aadmi Party.
No, Neetuji, it's not like that. I think there is always an amicable dialogue whenever I see the opposition parties. But somewhere or the other, I think there are factors like which are very, very specific to each opposition party. That's what I said. Some of them are quite young. Some of them have been there for a little while, and then the success has come. So they look at their equations or their dynamics within their region in a different way. And maybe they also feel that, well, we'll see when the time comes. Right now we would not like to enter into dialogue, because each one in every region, you see, some of them are very, very regional parties. They don't have presence in other states. So there are issues and issues, but I don't think so the Congress is on a high horse or
but
has
regional
any.
parties say the same for Congress, that Congress is almost reduced like a regional party. It doesn't have any presence except for Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan.
Yeah, but I think Congress is everywhere. The Congress is, if you see that it is trying, it's putting its best into all the states. For example, my state did very well last time, but this time we took a very bad hit, and we are trying to analyze what went wrong suddenly, and with so many issues which are not being solved, either whether it's unemployment, whether it is education, whether it is systems which need some kind of oiling, and the budget for certain sectors. So we are trying to analyze what's going on. But someday we'll be able to finally find out why it is, whether it is only because of one person or whether it is because their schemes are I have no idea, because we are trying to find that out. But you cannot say that Congress is reduced. It's for the BJP to say. It's their language, and that's the way they put it. They should also look at their own selves, that they don't like other parties, they don't like Congress, but they like their leaders, and they poach them. Okay. They take them away, and that is the washing machine. So from where does this money come in that washing machine, and which is that powder which washes them?
But Amee, recently Mr. Kharge had said that, 2024 looks certain that, it will fall in favor of an alliance government. Now, does that mean that Congress has almost given up hope of, fighting an aggressive battle? Does that mean that Congress knows that on its own or maybe alone, it cannot win 2024?
It is too early to make this kind of predictions. But whatever our honorable president said,
No, but Mr.
Kharge ji,
Kharge did. Mr. Kharge did make
yeah,
that
no,
statement.
no, no. That's what I'm saying. So when honorable president made that statement he said this, I think he looked at what actually is in the basket rather than beating about the bush, and that's what he might have felt after analyzing the situation, because we just had our plenary, and we had a lot of discussions and group meetings and all that. So maybe, but Congress has always been. We gave us 10 years. If you will see history in the last decades post independence, because if I analyze, and I've been also an academician, I mean, so much good has been done. So well, the fruits will be enjoyed for at least a while. But I think the Congress will definitely is going to be there for a long time, and is going to do very, very well. But just to brush away by these statements, because they make it a point from morning to evening, they only have this. So they're trying to, the way they are using the social media, this wouldn't last long.
One last question before I wind up the interview, Amee, that, people have started saying that Rahul Gandhi is now being used as a shield for Adani by the present government, because as long as they continue to ratchet up this issue that, Rahul Gandhi should apologize, people and the media, of course, would not talk about Adani. So is Rahul now the new shield for Adani?
No, no. Rahul Gandhi has been talking about this industrial houses long back. It's not that because the Hindenburg report came, Rahul Gandhi has started speaking. Because when you start seeing what is being the largest of the countries being doled out for peanuts or for practically free to industry houses. Maybe Adani is one of them, but you've seen what has happened to the PSUs. See, the BJP has never created any PSU, has never created any property. It's very easy. If somebody's property, you just have to get up and sell it, and you get the funds, get the money, and you don't have to answer, because you are kind of in a bully situation, because you are the ruling party, you have the numbers, so you don't want to answer to the people of this country. So you are selling what you have never created. You are not creating anything for the future. And so when Rahul Gandhi made this statement, he has been making this for the last few years now, that Adani and Ambani's, and they're getting the major chunk. Let's not talk about the sectors, because it is a long list. Right. But that answer is not being given. And today some report from international arena where they are looking at round tripping. If there was no round tripping, there was no Mauritius, this would not have come from an international party or individual research agency. But this was because of the round tripping, it has come to the fore that this huge kind of corporate fraud has taken place. So why bring all the time Rahul Gandhi? You bring out your own answers, give the answers to the people of this country, that we took the SBI chairperson to Australia. She was sitting with us, with the Prime Minister, and here with the Adanis, and you are talking about promoting social justice on one end. All hollow things, To speak something and to do something, it takes metal. It takes metal to do that.
Right. Well, all the issues which you listed out, it seems that the government is running away, from talking about all these issues. But yes, eyes would be on whether Rahul Gandhi will be allowed to speak in Parliament tomorrow, because tomorrow is Friday. And before the Parliament shuts for the next week, it would be interesting to see what happens in Parliament. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on the program, Amee Yajnik. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview: share this video as widely as you can. Subscribe to our channel and stay tuned to the Federal. Thank you. Thank you, Amee. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.